Welcome to TruthStream. Today we are here with Quianna, and we're also excited to introduce her to the Grassroots Warrior Network that's been created by Kevin Hoyt, along with 20 other anchors. Well, I don't know if we're 21 or we're
yeah.
Well,
We're number one, but yeah.
Anyway,
I think that's Kevin.
So yeah, Kevin's number one. And anyway, we're excited to have Quianna here. We were introduced to her through a woman that we've interviewed on the show before. Her name's Crystal, and she has land down in Arkansas. And from what she's gathered, that her land was being used for not only pot farming, but something a bit more nefarious. She believes it was possibly, I don't know if we can say it. Do we want to put this on YouTube or not? It starts with A and ends with Chrome. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were told about Quianna, and this is our first show, and man, we had to stop after about talking for 7 minutes because we just want to capture all this gold. So Quianna, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem, no problem. Yes, I did do a remote viewing session for her. She came to me and wanted to know all about the land down there. And I will say that when I do these type of things, you go in not knowing, honestly, what you're going to get. But I immediately was able to pick up on that there were definitely some sacrifices that were done on the land. And dealing with young women in, I call them hunting games, where I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, where they will kidnap women and they will hunt them for sport. A lot of these women are virgins, or they are also they're young and they're kind of naive in that way, to the point where they're childlike. They're closest innocence without being children. And then I had to let her know that I did believe at some point there were children involved in this. Definitely that A word came up, and I got that this was possibly a shipping center or location to where things were being done. It was being canned, or basically this was the warehouse, so to speak, for this stuff, and then it's being put out. And yeah, so I don't want to say too much because I'm actually we're going into further a little into what really is going on, but I will say that I believe it's connected to another crime. And when the full story comes out, it'll be one that'll rock the community, like they like to say.
Wow.
But yeah, I did want to go into a little bit with you guys on how I got my gift. And
Yeah.
A lot of people are interested in knowing, how did I get my gift? How do I receive the visions? How do they come in? They just have a lot of questions. So I wanted to let you guys know that I was actually, so I knew from a kid that I was different. And it's not just like those inner thoughts of, oh, I don't fit in with them. I didn't fit in with them people, period. I was more connected with the animals. And in fact, I would tell my mom a lot of the times that I could never be around humans. I could just sit around the dogs all the time. And later, developed into a gift with the horses. And that's kind of where me and her connected too, because I trained horses and I do a lot of horse whispering for people as well in animal readings. But my story began when I was walking and I was hit by a car. And like we were talking about, it was an assassination attempt. I never fully found out what happened to me, but I had run across people that witnesses that did know a little bit of what was going on. And I was told that I witnessed something that I wasn't really supposed to. And I'm starting to think that in my mind, I thought witness with my eyes. And I think that I tapped into something that I was not supposed to. almost as if the same thing as if a hacker hacks into a computer system and then they find out too much. I feel like that's what I did on another level. After I was hit by that car a couple of years later, I was rear-ended by an 18-wheeler. And inside the 18-wheeler, somebody got out and he had an FBI hat on. Even the way he was dressed. Also, too, a lot of people, they look at me crazy when I say that there's agents all around us at all times that are blending in. And everything is under surveillance. And a lot of people think very small scale when I say this. They think, oh, like, I mean, that they put a bug in your phone. No, I mean, like, the street lights in our iPhones and these cameras in our security systems are on at all times, and they're listening. And sometimes you can tell because you'll hear interference, or you'll actually hear it. And we always write it off as, oh, it's just, oh, that's coincidental. No, it's not. You're hearing it. You're just so conditioned to blowing it off, and that it's conspiracy. Right. That a lot of us, we ignore a lot of the signs around us. I wanted to go in and talk about how I received the visions and back to the time warping. So I explained to you guys that time exists on 5 levels. There's the first 3 dimensions where they actually are talking about 3rd dimension. And if you think about a 3D object as it builds dimension, first is flat, second is angled, and third is dimensional, where you put all that together and get the 3D image. Well, time runs, so the past is running going that way. So it's always looping back that way. And then the future is going that way ahead, or it seems like it. And then here, where we're experiencing now, is neutral, but it's moving at a pace because it's moving forward. That's why you hear certain people say, and you'll hear like Native Americans, which I am a lot Creek Indian in me, and Cherokee Indian, Scimitar Indian, but I'm also Irish, German, and Asian as well. I'm mixed. Wow. A lot of them will tell you there is no such thing as age. Now, I'm going to go back really quick into the time bending. So like I was telling you guys, an example of this is when I'm in an accident and an accident is happening, I see it in 3 different versions, kind of. I see it as it's happening, right before it happened, and kind of in between that. So when something's happening around me super fast, even if it's out of my peripheral, I get it out of the side of my eye. It's like I'll see something like a shadow almost. And as the object is getting closer, the picture begins to go from shadow into existence. So it's almost like I can sense the future coming at me because it hasn't happened yet. So it's actually from the future. You can bend it by slowing it down. So when I see the accident, I'm literally looking at it frame by frame, like a movie, and I'm breaking down it frame by frame by frame. This is why I've been able to, since my car accident, avoid getting in accidents. And if you were to interview my kids, they'll tell you, my mom can tell you before an accident's going to happen because my senses are so like, it's like canine. I'm so sharp, like I see it before it happens and I'll move out of the way. Or this is another thing. And like I said, I'm not crazy. A voice will tell me, slam on the brakes. In split seconds, I can ask myself, why? And it'll answer, because if you don't, you'll die. If you don't, you'll get hurt. Each time, each accident is different. It lets me know if I ask. But a lot of times I don't ask because in those split seconds, if I get lost in the time loop, the accident will happen. And then you see what I'm saying? So again, time is happening at different intervals, and it depends which one you're meditating on. So when I'm receiving a vision, which I understood this as daydreaming. Daydreaming is astral projection. You are literally forcing yourself while you're awake to be in a different reality. When a kid daydreams, they are not in the classroom. When I used to daydream as a kid, I was never there. The teacher would be, but oddly enough, when they asked me what was going on in the class, I could recite what she was saying because my ears and everything else is still hearing and receiving the information in real time.
Wow.
This is how some people are able, like people ask me, how do you multitask so many things at one time? Because each one of them I'm categorizing in different time periods and I'm able to accomplish more. So when you look at autistic people, which I would definitely say there's some sort of autism, if that's what name you want to give it, because like I have a son who has Asperger's, right? He can't read really well, but he can put together 50,000 Lego pieces in under an hour without any instructions.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Literally right in front of the face. He's just like zim, 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 zim. Whereas me, I can't put puzzle pieces together, but I could tell you how your grandmother died and what time she died and how she was before and after death. So it just depends what time, but all of this is meditation, whether you realize you're doing it or not. It's a part of your subconscious. And there are exercises that you can do to reach it. And that's what school blinds you. They don't want that. That's why you're made to go to school, to put all your concentration. You have to study to keep up with the material. But people like me, like I went to paralegal school and I never studied and I made straight A's. I graduated with a 4.0 GPA.
Wow.
I will tell you that the government hand selects. I won't even say the government. There's these agencies because the government is one, the Illuminati, the popular guys, they're one. These are different agencies. They're different intelligencies. So like the CIA is an intelligency. The Army is an intelligency. They all deal with the different sensors. So they want to put you in school so that you don't get that. You don't open anything. You're so consumed with keeping up with peers, homework, and all of that you're blinded. Unless you're like me, where you're at school but you're not at school. You're somewhere else, and those people have high IQs, but they may be lacking somewhere else. Like me, I have no friends. I have zero friends because I have a hard time not telling people what's going to happen and not ruining it. Because when you're around me, I could like see you have a conversation with him and I could be like, oh, don't tell him that. You're going to mess up the friendship. And in 2 years, you guys are going to fall out over this. And then as I'm seeing the vision keeps going. And so for me, like, and I don't know how many of me is out there. I definitely feel like when I came back after the accident, I didn't come back just myself. I feel like something was put in me, guys. And I'm not saying like I was abducted by aliens. I'm saying like I some kind of way downloaded some sort of intelligence when I died.
It was already active, or it became active.
Yeah, but it got like activated. Now I want to pause. I want to tell you something, and then I'm going to pause really quick and tell you about the accident and what I saw when I died and what I said, because a lot of people they trip out when I tell them this. So when I'm walking through Walmart, literally, for one, I can see the way and when everyone's going to die. I can't cut it off. So each person that approaches me, I can see, like, for example, women that come up to me, they're always like, I look crazy right now because I just took my hair down, but usually like I model. So I'm very beautiful when I'm out and people approach me. I can see this woman's about to have an abortion. She doesn't even, not abortion, a miscarriage, and doesn't even know it. This one's pregnant. This one's husband's cheating. I just went to a funeral and I embarrassingly had to ask the guy that I talked to, was the preacher involved in infidelity, because I saw him sleeping with the church congregation. And he was like, yes, that's actually true. Wow. So I literally, when I walk and just go in front of people, I literally sometimes I can see their whole life. I can see when they started walking, but it's not slow. It all goes like zip, but I download the information so fast. And then how I store it. So did you guys see the movie Dreamcatcher? You gotta watch the movie
It
Dreamcatcher
sounds
with the
familiar.
little
How
boy.
old
was
is
in?
that?
Yeah, who was in it?
So I don't know, but there's a
We'll
little
look it up.
there's an alien called Jonesy. And Jonesy, one of the guys, that's so what it's about is the animals were infected and they were out in this cabin in the snow, and something happens and it slithers inside of them, and the alien has teeth. Well, there's this boy that has autism, and he is a part of the aliens. And anyway, one of the dudes, he stores in his mind everything in a mental library, and it's thousands of files in
No,
his head.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. That's
I haven't
new.
seen
That's
it either.
Guys
2021.
gotta watch this crap. You
I'm
gotta
gonna watch
that
it tonight.
Tonight, watch Dreamcatcher. It's gonna blow your mind. And so how that guy stores his memory, that's exactly how my brain, even like so the damaged part, it's just stored. The trauma in my brain is stored just in the very back. It's like deep in somewhere that's the light's flickering, but it's there. And my storage, my memory's starting to come back. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because I don't want to give away where I am at mentally. But
Right.
again, the things that have happened to me have been assassination attempts. So
Wow.
evidently, I am who I think that I am. It's not a secret that, for example, my passwords have the word agent in them from a kid. That you don't make up stuff, you just remember.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Now, is there a progression to this? Because, like, I don't know, recently, like if I'm gonna drop something or knock something over or it's gonna fall off the counter, I see it before it happens, like in detail, in frames, like you're talking about. I just there's not enough time for me to do anything about it, but I see it all
is
playing out, and then it happens, and then it's just like, oh, I saw it happening.
okay. So wait,
Yeah.
just what you just said. So what we speak out of our mouth is literally what we manifest, and you need to be very careful of what you say. So you remember how you just said, I don't have enough time. You literally didn't give yourself enough time because in your mind you're
So I
not
just
giving
need to,
yourself enough time. No, it comes with your thought. Tell
yeah.
yourself that you have enough time. Try to catch it. You have to
Well, sometimes I
exercise this.
do. I've had
Yeah,
unbelievable catches.
but
Something's
you're
falling,
doing
and
it.
I
But
don't
you're
even look
doing
at
it
it.
by
I catch them
accident.
like
Yeah,
I'm all by myself, but I'm like, how the hell did I do that? You know, it's just,
yeah. It's
yeah.
because you're slowly. So your subconscious mind knows how to bend the time, but you're still trying to work from the human side of your brain. So so remember I said I see things in kind of different times than everybody else. So literally when I'm doing readings for people or I'm tapping in, I'm literally cutting off the human side, the human brain. Because if you use your human brain to think, it randomly, we have imagination, and it randomly creates a story that fits the equation, even if it's wrong, which is why we can know an answer on a test. And if we think about it too hard, we'll put the wrong answer because the brain begins to panic and it'll come up with an answer to make the stress on itself stop. The brain is, I don't want to sound crazy, but the brain has its own thought. The
Well,
brain
you
is
don't sound
separate.
crazy.
You don't sound crazy
And
on our show.
honestly,
Yeah,
there's a lot more
so
clarity to what you're telling me there. I mean, like, these are answers to questions I've had for a while. So you said you don't have any
that's
friends. You
why.
do now.
Okay, cool. Because your brain it works with the body, but that's why when you die, it still's going because it's on a different circuit than everything else. And believe it or not, you don't need medicine. You can self-heal. And I'll tell y'all the story about that. But before I want to get into my accident. So when I got hit by the car, I literally I went, and you guys, I smoke weed, so or I blow. I'll
Me
use
too.
that. So okay, cool. 420 friendly.
We
So
started the interview at 420.
okay. And I have to from the pain of the accident.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
And
Exactly.
so I'm in a lot of pain a lot of times, and I suffer from anxiety, and so I do smoke. And so I went to go get cigarillos and a pack of cigarettes when I was smoking, and I went to cross the street, and as a kid, we're taught down where I'm from Houston, Texas, and we're taught left, right, left again, and then you look right and place your right foot. It's like a whole routine from daycare, right?
Huh.
As an adult, I still do this in my head anytime I cross the street. Well, I did this, and I could see bright lights, and I just felt like put my hand up. That's what my mind told me. So I put my hand up, and I could see the make and model. It was a Jeep. I could see the person driving the car and like the silhouette of him. And then everything just went white, white, pure white. And as this is happening, I was like, the voice in my head was like, "You're dead." And I answered back, I was like, "No, I'm not." And it was like, "Okay, well then if you're not dead, then where's your body?" Like, you guys, this is me, like my ego. I feel like, and I was like, I got a body. And when I tried to look at my body, it felt like I was in a swimming pool, and I went like bloop and right back. Like, so you guys, I swear to God, if I didn't know any better, I was a baby in the womb. Okay.
Wow.
I was a baby in the womb. And I remember just this light. It was so bright, but it didn't hurt. It didn't look like a light bulb. It was almost like pure, if you could view fire in its purest form. And it was just a pure light. And I was like, dang, I did die. And I was like, oh shit. And it was like, look at that. Look at you cursing on your way to God. And I was like, oh shit, I'm cursing. And I was like, shit, you said shit. And I was like, why do I keep saying shit? I was like, you are nervous. Stop cursing. And then the inner me was like, girl, God said, come as you are. He know that you curse. You are not hiding your curse. You know that the fact that you curse, if you're about to meet him anyway, y'all, this is my thought, my exact, how it happened, what I was saying. And I was like, oh my God, God, I am so sorry. And let me just tell you guys, pause. When I was homeless when this happened, my mom had kicked me out. Me and my mom had a bad relationship. I got hit by this car. I was homeless for 2 years, but I would see the agents, and I'll tap into that once I go into the story. And a week before I got into this accident, when I was walking, somebody was like, hey, hey. And, of course, when you're walking, guys do it. People throw stuff at you. But I was young. So, I was like 19. I didn't really know anything. My mom kicked me out and everything. And so I made it to a friend's. He had a barn, and I stayed at this property with no electricity and no water, living like that. The guy at this gas station would allow me to shower in the sink. So I would go to the church. God told me that I needed to go to the church, and the only way out of this was through the church. And my friend let me stay there as long as I fed his horses. So it was like a win-win situation. Well, somebody saw me walking, and it was this Jeep. Now, listen to the story. So the person driving the Jeep was a Black guy. And then the girl in the side was a Caucasian female. And when she was saying this, at first I didn't listen. I didn't turn my head. And she was like, basically like, hey, you in the white shirt. Hey, you with the flip-flops on. So I turned my head, and this person was hanging out of the Jeep window with a digital camera and snapped a photo of me. Exactly 7 days later, I was hit by the car.
Same Jeep.
Yes, same Jeep.
Wow.
Yeah, you knew it. So like I said, I went white, and everything went white. And as I'm going forward, because I could feel myself, it felt like my chest, like I was going forward like that. And I was like, you know what, God? So I came from a middle class family, a middle class Black family. So we had more than the average. I grew up in some baby mansions, and my family wasn't just poor. I was raised by my grandparents, but my mom too, she went to school and worked and stuff, single mom. And man, you guys, when I tell you, like, I was suicidal, I had told God, like, I had went through the whole F God, F religion. I didn't care anymore. And I was like, you know what, God, if you exist, then you come down here and you get me. Okay. Because why you took me from a mansion or like these nice houses and living a certain type of life. And I was FFA president in high school and all this stuff. So I was eating out of trash can. I didn't eat in like week or 2 weeks. Like, I had blisters on my feet. I walked like 51 miles. Like, I was like, what is this? So at one point I hated God. I tell people my story, like I hated him. And I was like, you know, you supposed to love us. This ain't love. This ain't you my father, and you gonna do this to me. But I didn't read my Bible either. I grew up in the church though. I was an acolyte, but I wasn't reading the Bible. So I just felt like I was so high that I didn't deserve this treatment. And y'all, I cursed God, and I was like, you know, you come get me. And I prayed for death almost like every day. I was like, I just don't want to live. I wasn't going to kill myself. God was going to come take me. That's what I had determined. Because I wasn't a coward either. You know, I wasn't going to put a gun in my head and kill myself. But when this happened, I prayed and I was like, God, I'm so sorry that I cursed you, because I feel like you're right in front of me, even though you won't let me see your face, because that lets me know you finna send me back. And I talked to him just like this, and I was like, I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to do, but I'm gonna do it. If you send me back, then I'm gonna dedicate my life to finding out what it is you want me to do, because you got me interested now. I know that this is not like, I see how this is happening, y'all. Like, I knew I was dead. I knew I was dead. Do you hear me? There was nobody. There was no arms. I was this spirit in water. I knew I was either being reborn or I was going out. I was not alive. When as soon as I said, God, I promise you, I just need you to send your angels charge over my soul. As soon as I said amen, I felt like I was falling. I mean, falling a long time. Like, I'm scared of heights. So I was arms flailing, and I'm like, ah, and then I slam into my body, and I couldn't pick my head up. I couldn't nothing. My one arm lifted up, the other arm lifted up. I looked left and I looked right, and there were two angels. And these guys were taught, like, man, these were like 7 feet, okay? To the point that I was like, damn, like, you know, like I was really like, damn, no, for real, like from deep down, like, oh my God. I was scared, nervous, not scared, and then like, what the hell's going on, you know, all at the same time. They placed me on the newspaper stand, and when I turned around, they just like, the light just like bloop, like that. Next thing you know, cop walks up to me. He was like, you stupid effing N-word. You know where to cross the street at? All I could think of was like, girl, you got like a big sack in your pocket. You in front of a police. And I was like, I don't need your help. He was like, good. And I was like, wait, I need an ambulance. And next thing you know, like, I slowed down. That was the first time that I slowed time. I literally slowed everything. I took a mental snapshot of everybody there, everybody in traffic, all the people. And I noticed that the Jeep had 2 cop cars behind it. They were covering his license plate, and I could see him. Now, one of my favorite movies is Lost Boys. And Nanook's owner, the vampire that says a vampire can't come into your house unless he's invited. I swear that if I had to bet my soul on it, that's who hit me. I thought for 8 years that I was crazy, until God told me to Google this guy, and he was like a Houston Astro. And also I called everywhere on the Jeep that hit me, and it was a special edition Jeep only given to collectors, which I didn't even know car companies did that. That's the first time I learned about that. Yeah. I described it down to the T, and he was like, oh, that's a car collector. And I Googled him, and he collects cars. So I don't mean to falsely accuse anybody. I'm telling you what was shown to me. So when I came back to, again, I thought I was crazy, put myself on medicine, until I met this woman who told me to go on the website and look for the missing people. And everybody that I saw in my visions and dreams, they were there. I mean, I immediately began, people, and you guys, spirits come to me. They're not always nice. They're not always like polite, like, hey, I died 3 years ago and I would like to tell you my story. No, they come in the form of their murder. Okay. I see this girl running. There's a man chasing her. He's shooting at her, whatever is happening. She's bleeding from everywhere. I get the full vision. That's how they come to me. It's not like they ask me anything. They just come, and it can be when I'm driving. Yes. And people say, well, then how don't you get into an accident? Because remember, I see things in different time dimensions. So I'm on autopilot. I'm literally conscious and in a whole different place at a whole different other time. And it all some kind of way bends back around. It's like a boomerang effect. I'm getting thrown out to somewhere else, but I'm coming right back into the same exact spot. And so that's how I discovered what it is that I had, and the gift, and just like everything. Also too, with this gift, I wondered why was I seeing the people in different colors? What did these colors mean? Because I know the chakras, I learned about that a little bit, and people started asking me all these terms, do you know astrology and numerology? No, I just was one of those kids. My grandma told me that whenever I was little and it used to rain, my eyes would turn gray. I was always connected with nature. I'm the type of person, when I get sad, I swear to God, he's dead right now, but I had somebody that could tell you when I get sad, it rains. This is not anything that I was even aware of until about 2 years ago. And so that right there is why I know that it's not conspiracy theory that weather is manipulated. And sometimes it's not manipulated by a machine. It's somebody like me who has the ability to do this type of stuff. The government has lots of money to where they can hire. And you got to understand, if the average person, they will corrupt themselves for $1. Okay. So just imagine right now, if you find out you have this gift, right? And you were born Christian, like you don't want to do the gift for evil. And then the government comes to you and tells you, I will give you protection for your family and I'll give you $1.2 million, but I want you to create the C word virus. That's nothing but spell work in a dish. It's just like when I light my candles and I do a reverse to sender spell on somebody. Yes, I have the ability to do it. If I want to, yes, I could wish, I hate to say it like that, but I could really wish with the intent that somebody get hurt or die. Yes, it will happen. There's people out there like me that have this ability, and in the wrong hands and of these different agencies, they have the power to do almost anything. But I do believe in, and I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in God and Jesus. I do believe that because only of what I went through and what I've seen. So I tell people, God gave me this gift. I don't hide that. I give the glory to God because there's no other explanation that I have. No, it was not aliens. This was a mission that I was assigned, that God gave me. Because I will tell you something, and the young lady I did the reading for asked me to touch on this. My daughter was kidnapped by DFCS and the police. She was taken from me without a court issued warrant and for no reason at all. But they never tried to take my other kids. Okay. Right now, I am the whistleblower on the Rainbow House case in Georgia, Clayton County. If you Google Rainbow House, Clayton, Georgia news, I'm the whistleblower. I hate to say it, but, and I'm not going to go far into this, but the feds, okay, that agency, they are involved with a lot of the trafficking of these kids. And that's what people don't understand. When I do my work and I solve cases for them. So they contacted me about Brittany Drexel. Okay. I solved that for them with their mother, with Dawn, the mother. And I'll go into that in a little bit, but these guys are the biggest crime group in the world. and it has ties to England, if you know what I mean, and certain bloodlines and certain DNA. And I looked up my DNA, not through ancestry, but through surname. That's why you're giving a surname. And I have Watley, Hogue, and those surnames, and even Ford, which I do believe, and I haven't done ancestry, but I do believe I am a direct a descendant of Mr. Ford, because my grandfather is white, blonde hair, blue eyes. And when you start looking at these agencies, guys, I called for 4 months. The first person to respond to me was the Inspector General of the United States.
Wow.
I called the FBI for over a year and they wouldn't go in. The Attorney General was the second person that responded. You know how I got them to respond? I called the detectives unit every single day at different times of the day from different numbers with different names.
Yeah.
Until one day somebody answered the phone and said, if you call one more time, I'm going to go crazy. And I was like, and if you don't listen to me, I'm going to keep calling. So we can trade out. I need somebody. They have my daughter, and they had my daughter. They took my daughter for 4 months. They tried to sell her. They starved her. They poisoned her. They threw the kids into walls. This happened at a group home in Georgia. And the police, they stole my dog. I had a $10,000 Bouvier de Flandre. Look up the breed. I was given a cadaver dog by a military personnel. I'm going to go into that because I'm going to tell you that there's agents and why I feel like they're doing this to me. Why me? Because a lot of people say, "What? Why are you so special?" I'm going to tell you why I feel like I was selected, and how I knew as a kid that I was selected. So whenever my daughter was taken, the Inspector General first, then the Attorney General, and I was assigned an investigator. When I went to go do the meeting with them guys, and this is why I have to be careful of everything that I say, because they already know. First of all, they know who I am. They've been watching me since a kid. Okay. When they went in to interview me and my daughter, for one, a lot of people that tell their kids what to say, they'll sit right there. I left my daughter. You can talk to her. This really happened. This is not a joke or a gimmick. They took my kid, but it was a test. It was a test to see if I really had the abilities, or could I just get it out of people and make them tell me the information. My kid was assigned to me. And when they went in, they had an agent that was there. And I went out and I said, "You guys, the agent that you got sitting in there at the table, she doesn't give a good disguise." And they said, "How do you know that's an agent?" I said, "Well, let me tell you something." I said, I drink Starbucks faithfully when there's one near me, and I'm a woman. And every real woman who has kids, at least more than one, drinks Starbucks, okay? And we do not go into Starbucks as women to sit in Starbucks and order this expensive ass coffee and don't drink it. I said, I timed her. She was in there for over 8 minutes. She ordered a coffee and didn't touch it. That's an imposter.
Yeah.
I said, that's an imposter. Nobody goes in Starbucks and doesn't drink it unless they're a federal agent and they're listening. I also touched her and I told her, and I said, I already see you and I know that you're sitting right there. This woman gets up from the table, leaves the coffee cup on the table, takes the earpiece out and walks out.
Wow.
Wow.
So no, it's not my imagination. And I told them this, and I told them that you guys got to get better people besides the homeless people that are on the streets that are pretending, and these people that are following me around. And you guys really need to switch from Ford and Chevy. You know, sometimes they'll sneak a Dodge in, but Ford and Chevy is the cars, and black and navy blue. You know, you guys only operate on, they operated on a uniform, and that's why there's a uniform or a pattern if you watch them. But anyway, my daughter was given to me because they wanted to see if I could tap into the other kids. When they made the arrest and actually went in March 21st of this year, a year later, I had a phone call from a woman and she goes, "I just want to let you know, and I know they haven't called and told you because you would have blew my voicemail up with an excited voicemail." She goes, "You rescued 27 other children that we had either on tape being sodomized and it being sold, or being sodomized right there in the facility literally doors down from where your daughter was sleeping. And this is all on tape. Like they have it, they have the evidence. You know, the FBI kept asking me, how did you know? How did you know? How did you know? I said, you would like to know. So I said, well, I want to know this. Since you know that I know and you want to know how do I know,
Right.
I want to know why you guys, and I'm going to probably get in trouble for this. I want to know why you saw Bank of America transactions coming in and you just brushed those off when they were flagged. I want to know why you didn't stop those transactions for those kids you were selling down in Washington, D.C. I'm also working the Relisha Rudd case, and I will tell you, Washington, D.C. is the devil's playground. And that is, it is more than just the President Biden conspiracies and all that stuff that people go into. No, you guys, I went there, and it is, that's that place. I believe that has a portal. I don't know all the locations and I don't follow everything that closely, not to front load myself, but you guys, let me tell you something. When I was in Washington, I'll try to find a picture. I found a trap when I was down there looking for the remains of Relisha Rudd, which is one of my cases. The trap had trash in it as bait, and it was as long as a F-150 with a lawnmower trailer on it. What are you catching in the water with trash that's as big as a F-150? Because I ain't never seen a raccoon that big.
No.
I mean, what you catching, a dinosaur or something? I mean, what's really going on? I will let you know the next day when I went out, there were these cones that had signs on them that said electric voltage. So wait a minute, let me get this right. You have this trap set in the middle of the water, in the middle of the damn trees out here. And the next day I come, you say, warning, electrical voltage. You guys, I touched it. Why didn't I get shocked? Obviously, the frequency that I have is so high that it interfered with the shock. And then I saw the white cars that were starting to come and follow us. And I remember I was even surrounded by 30 deer. And yes, I counted them. Also, animals do play into this, guys, to the point that animals will let you know. They'll let you know when stuff is in your house and different things like that. But all of this, my kid and those 27 other kids, I solved Brittany Drexel's case. And a lot of people are like, oh, you know, why don't you pressure the mom because she didn't never mention you? You never got the reward money. And you guys, I didn't do that for no reward money. I didn't do it for any recognition. I did that because that girl came to me for 7 years.
Wow.
And how I solved it too is the mother asked me to identify that I won't even talk to you unless you can tell me where my daughter's birthmark is. Because it had been 11 years at that point when I first reached out. And she had talked to 250 different psychics, and they all got it wrong. I was able to give her the right location immediately. And she was like, I want you to speak to, and I know this wasn't the detective's real name, but her name was Kim. Okay, like Kim Possible, you know, it just sounds like, it was so cliche, guys, I swear to God. But anyway, we'll take Kim, you know, it was cute. And so, they would ask me, you know, they would, and I don't say that Dawn was involved. I don't feel she was involved, but I know that this was an exercise they did. They purposely gave me the wrong location for years. And with me being so inexperienced at first, that's all that I was getting. But I was like, oh, this is pretend. Oh, they have so sometimes when you're receiving information from like one of them, it'll be disguised. It won't even be it'll have a covering over. So you have to learn to remove that. I know it sounds crazy, but I removed the filter, so to speak. And when I removed the filter, I told her, I can screenshot and show you the messages. I was like, hey, I need you to call her because y'all are in the wrong spot. And I was like, Kim, you were there. You were there in the location. She was like, what's the location? Give me a street name. I said, you know, I don't do names. I was like, but what ended up happening is the girl came to me butt naked, covered in sand mixed with mud. She said, tell the detective that she's been there before and it's where the two bodies of water meet or something and the sand mixes with mud and it creates a certain type of soil. And they kept saying McClellandville. I was like, that's not it. And I was like, you know what? You guys have been telling me like this African-American male, and I don't see an African-American male. I see this older white guy. And Kim was like, oh my God, Quianna, tell me what he looks like. I was like, he looks horrible. The teeth are bad. I was like, this dude is like in my nightmares now. Like the dude looks perverted. Like he looks scary. Like one of them people, like, if I fall asleep, he'll slip something in my drink and take my kidneys, and I will wake up in the morning with something missing. Okay. The guy looks straight crazy.
Wow.
And when she told me that he was actually a key suspect, and she was like, I know exactly where you're talking about. She was like, is it Georgetown? I said, if this guy lives there and that's where that soil mix, that's the location. So I said, you've been there, everything that I gave him. And I will say this publicly, but I don't mean no offense to her mom. It did hurt my feelings that my client told me that the body was discovered before the mom. And it wasn't that the mom didn't care about me. Just think about it. I told the mother, 11 days before her daughter was found, because she showed me a casket and I said, you're about to bring your daughter home. These were her exact words. I don't think so. It's been 14 years. I said, Dawn, anytime they show me a casket, that means it's it. They show me that they're going to have a burial. She's going to come home. 4 days later, her body was found in Georgetown, where I said it was, by the person that I said.
Wow.
And like I said, I did not do it for any reward money. I did not do it for anything like that. I did it because I wanted Brittany to come home. And I will tell you this, the way that I found Brittany is I was working on another case out in Myrtle Beach, the Heather Elvis case. I'm going to spin your head around on this one.
Again?
Oh, we're going to have to come back for a part 2 because there's
Oh,
no
yeah,
way
yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's already been decided.
cover all of it. Heather Elvis, that was one of my first cases. And I identified her vehicle, where she went missing from, on that page, Find Heather Elvis. And the person asked me, where are you at? And I was like, I am in Texas. And they were like, so you're here? Because how do you know all of this? And then they asked me a very important question, which haunts me. Who else did you tell this information to? That's the worst damn question that you can get. Why you want to know? Are you hiding something?
Wow.
And then I was like, now who is this? Oh, this is an aunt of the family. Oh, hello, Heather's father. I'll let you know that I know it was him. Heather Elvis is who I was doing the remote viewing on. I had just learned what remote viewing was, and I started learning how to time warp, how to control the time.
How long ago was this roughly?
That was back in 2014.
Okay.
And I talked to that page and I told them, I said, they called me and they were like, hey, what do you know? And I said, I know that she met somebody out there. A silver pickup truck came out there, and then they left. And then she was taken to some cabins, though. Everybody thinks that she was like put in the water. I don't want to get in trouble with the family, and sorry if I'm being offensive to anybody, but I feel like this is the family's property. How they're going to find the body is when she fell, when she was murdered, she got hit in the head or something, and 3 drops of blood came out of the nose, and they fell in between the wood slats. And when the police do go in, and her uncle is chief of police in the same county where she disappeared. So when they do, and I will tell you this, and sorry, boys in blue, but they already have that guy as a key, looking into him as interest. When I told them about the Brittany case, the detective that I spoke with said he had some suspicions of his own about the uncle, which is the dad's brother, who made a post on Facebook about the perfect way to hide a dead body would be to put it under a concrete slab on his Facebook right before she disappeared. Anyways, when they go in and they do the little stuff that illuminates the blood, they will find that her blood and DNA are in there. And when they start to dig right in the middle of things, you get my drift? Her body will be there, right there. But it was me doing a channeling of her that Brittany, when I saw them and all the cases were linked, it showed me that they were connected some kind of way, either through a pedophile ring or something. When it showed me, Brittany came to me and she was like, hey, I was telling Heather, I was like, Heather, you gotta keep talking to me. You disappear on me and you're not staying connected and I can't solve your case. I need you to keep your connection open, please. Like I was begging her. And I was like, look, I don't care if you feel like I'm the only one that can see you. And she just looked at me. Her mouth never moved. And she said, nobody is ever going to believe you. You're Black and they're cops. And no one's going to believe you. So I don't care anymore. And I said, listen to me. I said, I am going to bring you home because I was given a second chance after I cursed God. Okay. So I'm going to bring you home and I'm going to be the one. And as I'm talking to her, I looked to the side because I noticed the eyes flash at me, these big, pretty blue eyes. And she was like, you saw me. I saw that you saw me. You just saw me. That means you can hear me. She was like, you can hear me. You need to help me. And this is how I found out about her. And I was like, I was scared to death. I had never saw two spirits in one reading, two different people in one reading. And I was like, oh my God, I panicked, y'all. Because remember, I was just discovering this gift. Nobody gave me an instruction manual. I'm doing this alone. I'm talking to non-living people in my room. I'm surrounded by them. Okay. I done left my house spiritually and I'm getting all this and I'm scared to death. And I'm like, girl, who are you? And what you see me? How? And I start to hear this man, doom, 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 doom. And something says, look up. And I look up, y'all, and there is like 200 naked girls from the ages of 6 all the way to grown women.
Oh.
And have their knees, they're sitting up with their knees like this, and they're trying to cover. And I was like, I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, what is that? Naked women? Why am I seeing these naked women? Like now you see like how I'm looking at myself in the camera. That's how I could see myself in the vision. And I was like, who are these naked women? I'm looking and I'm like, what? So I'm hearing the man and I'm in a warehouse and it's wet and all of them are chained. And I slip back into those big barrels that they use as burn barrels or whatever. Yeah. And I slip back and the guy bends right down in my face and he goes, and I don't know about my language, you're gonna have to bleep this out. He goes, bitch, what the fuck are you looking at? And she goes, nothing. And I go, oh my God.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, can he see me? God, I need you to blind. I was sitting there like this. I was like, oh my God, can he see me? I didn't know if I should move. And then like I tried to scoot back and then the chain made the noise and he moved. He's like, man, what the fuck is over there? Like, y'all, that's how I found out that you can alter something because I did it by accident. And then now I'm scared to death that this guy can see me or has seen me. I don't know where this is. It's not like they put a sign and was like, this is, in Indiana or whatever. Like, no, I'm just like seeing this random place. I'm scared to death. Okay. And I'm like, come out of the vision. The lady that coached me on this taught me to come out of the vision and block myself when I get scared. So as I'm seeing this, the spirit, Brittany, she's noticing this too. And she's like, wait, I didn't tell you my name. And I was like, what's your name? And it felt like we were getting far, like distance. Like I was like, what's your name? Time was leaving. So the communication was getting farther. And she was like, Drexel. It echoed. And I woke up out of my sleep and I was like, Drexel, who the hell is that? And I'm telling y'all, I was like dead sleep. And I was like looking around the room. I picked up my phone and I Googled missing Drexel. and the blue eyes was the first thing that popped up. And it was Brittany Drexel. And she goes, "You're going to have the hardest time convincing my mother, but that's the only way that I'm going to be found." That was literally what she told me. And then everything like, and it shut down. You guys, I didn't get another vision on that girl for 2 years.
Wow.
I don't know if I scared myself so bad over it or if I needed a mental break, or I don't know. But when I did come back to, I messaged her mom, Dawn Marie, and that is how I began to build a relationship. I said, "Look, I don't know how to tell you this, and I hope you don't think I'm batshit crazy." I was like, "Your daughter came to me, and I will not be able to rest. I can't rest until I talk to you." And she called me, surprisingly. A lot of people, they don't believe me, or they'd be like, "And I don't want to talk." Like Dulce, the little girl from New Jersey, I told her mom, "Oh, the government knows your daughter's alive too. She's alive." Dulce, that little girl, the pretty little girl, she's alive.
Oh,
I even told her mom, the people that have her, she has a couple that has her, a Mexican couple, and they often time travel back and forth between Mexico, and they cut her hair when they do. She is made to be look like a boy, and I told the mother this. And so you guys, some of these agencies know where these kids are. They are targets. It's not a mistake. My daughter, she runs. She can beat. I watched my daughter run. She beat a lot of 17-year-old kids when she was 12. She also can draw like me. Oh, you guys, I woke up from the accident. I could draw. Like draw. I'm gonna send y'all my drawings. Like I used to always wish I could draw. No, like my kids told me to draw painting. Like my son was like the one with Asperger's. He was like, "Mom, I always hear about people having abilities. Why don't you draw your first picture after your accident?" And I drew It the Clown, the original, like
wow.
a spitting image of him.
Wow.
And then I began to draw all these clowns and all these things. My perception of death, you guys, I see death so clearly that a friend of mine, he came to me, and remember I told you when I get sad, it rains. So he came to me and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "I need you to listen to me." And he was like, "What?" I was like, "Man, if you go back to your dad's house, which is right behind my property," I was like, "You're gonna die in the house." He was like, "Oh man, I'm good. I got a gun." I was like, "No, you're not listening to me. God told me to tell you that if you go back there, you're gonna die." So he ends up moving out for a while. He started working and doing good. Then he went back to his old ways, and he went back to the house. So he came to, have a smoke session with me. And he was like, "Every time I've come over here since you told me that, it begins to rain as soon as I sit on your porch. Why? Why are you doing that?" And he began to cry, like, this is a man, like, And I was like, "Danny, you're going to die and you won't listen to me." And he was like, "Man, I got my gun. I promise you I'm good, baby girl," and this and that. I had never met his dad. So the guy that I talked to, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to go introduce you to his dad." As soon as I get in the house, I tried to go in. It was like a bubble. It was like, boom, boom. And I was like, "Oh no." I told him, I was like, "I don't want to go in there." Now, mind you, we had everybody had been drinking. And so the guy, he was intoxicated, and he's a spiritual person too. He ministers sometimes. But he was like in some sort of when you drink, you guys, we're not supposed to drink alcohol. It takes us out of a realm. So I don't know what frequency he was on, but it was like he couldn't see anything. He couldn't feel it when he normally does. And I was like, "Hey, bro, I don't want to go in the house." Y'all, this is how I was looking. I was like, "I don't want to go in the house, please." He was like, "I just want to introduce you to his dad. Girl, come on here." I was like, "Please." And I'm looking in the house. I was like, "I don't want to go in there." And he was like, "Why?" I said, "Death is in there." And he was like, "Well, you got the gift." I was like, it's not for me, but it's looking at me, y'all. And he was like, "Man, come on here and meet the dad." I've been telling him, I was like, "Man, I'm looking at it. It's in the hallway." And I was like, "Well, just you walk first." Cause I was like, I'm sorry, y'all. I know this is gonna sound bad. I was like, if it's gonna get you, if it's gonna get him, it's gonna get him first. It's not gonna get me. And so I was like, I'm gonna walk in here. So y'all, I'm walking around, And I didn't been up to the door of the house, and I'm looking all around, and y'all, I was walking in there just like this. I was like holding myself, and it felt like the walls were just like, man, y'all, I felt like the walls was crying. I don't know how to explain it, y'all. I swear to God, the walls were like like heat waves. And it was like a crying, and it was like I felt like I was doing this down the hall, like, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Next thing you know, it went from in front of me to right, like right in back of me. Oh my, it was like right here, y'all.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, it's in back of me. I was like, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I started praying. Next thing you know, it gets up into the corner, and it's like, and I hate to sound crazy, y'all, but it was like Spider-Man. It was like up in the corner arch, and then it just looked at me. And I looked at him, I was like, I'm not afraid of you. Being in front of death makes you feel it in your soul feels that. Okay. And it gives you a feeling. Scared is not the word. Fear is not the word. You are bothered to your soul when you're in front of death, and it's not different. Like it's such a heavy presence that you want to throw up, you want to vomit. It's so heavy. Like, and so it's like I said, it's not even scary. It's just like a deep borrowing feeling. You almost feel like it's looking into your soul, like it's looking at you to see when it needs to come back for you, And so the guy was like, hey, I was like, hey, how you doing? I was talking so fast. I was like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be rude. I usually don't do this. I was like, I was one of those people that was born. I swear to God, that's how I was talking. I was like, I was one of those people that was born with a gift, and you have something in your house, and I can't be in here right now. I was like, so it was very nice to meet you, and I love your sons and everything, but I literally have to get out. You guys, when I say I ran out of the house, I physically ran, and when I turned around, it like there was a black cloud. Hold on, what? No, check with Liz. I'm on the show. Thank you. So like it was like a black swirl around, like it looked like a hurricane was forming, even though this was at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Okay. I could see a storm. And next thing you know, I just saw him being shot. The day that he died, I went on his Facebook page, and so I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't, for some reason, you guys, it was like his death wasn't meant to be prevented because he didn't listen to the initial warning. So the family got pissed off at me because I wrote RIP to him 10 minutes before he died. And everybody said, why the hell would you put that? And then the calls started coming in, and they were like, were you involved in his death? Now the family knew me, and I was like, no, this was a good friend of mine, and it's actually hurt. When he died, y'all, it was my cousin that killed him.
shit.
So I just moved to the area, and I'm related to a lot of people, but I didn't see the cousin killing him, and he died. And remember when I told him, he's like, I got my gun. And I was like, it won't be there. It just so happens that 3 days or 2 days before this happened, his brother came and got the gun. So when the guy kicked in the door and chased him, he went to grab the gun, but it was gone, just like I told him. And when he turned around, he shot him in the neck. And he died. And it was when he was in the ambulance that I wrote RIP, and I never knew that it was happening. I knew, but I didn't know until I saw all the cars on the street.
Right.
But what you saw in the house, that was death waiting for him, and you knew that it was coming.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
And I've never been wrong, and I'm never wrong about death. If I see that you're going to die, unless God himself grants you more days. And this is where I tell people it does go on your heart, because I died. But also, and two, like when we're dealing with the kidnapping of my daughter, guys, I want to tell you guys this part, because this is important, and maybe somebody watching this will understand how sometimes you have to really stop looking at what's happening and blaming yourself, and look at what message it's trying to tell you. When my daughter got kidnapped, I had an inheritance coming, this house that I'm in right now. But I hit a rough spot because I'm battling the government because my ex-husband is an army and he M-word my daughter. And I'm trying to get him prosecuted as well. But as I was told in a meeting the other day, the army is protecting him. You guys, I beat myself up so bad that I almost lost my faith for the second time until God made the vision of the accident come up. And I was like, what did I do for my child to get taken? I'm a bad mom. Y'all, when I say like, y'all, I cried every day for that year. When I say every day, y'all, when my daughter got kidnapped, let me tell y'all, when she got taken from me, I got a phone call and she was like, Mom, you got to get me out of here. The lady told me you'll never see your daughter again, and the phone hung up.
Oh,
I went weeks without knowing where that girl was, man.
God.
ugh.
For the life, even though I have intuition, I couldn't see her. I wasn't getting a download. Y'all, one day I was walking and I didn't have no more money, y'all. This is a true story. This is my testimony, y'all. I had no more money. I started praying, man. I was like, God, I don't know what I did. I'm trying to get away from my ex-husband who he got 9 years probation for trying to kill me already, and he keeps trying. And the court won't listen to me. So I fled from Texas to Georgia. When I get there, not even 6 weeks later, a guy tries to traffic me who I was staying with. I got away from him, and then they kidnapped my daughter. This is all within like 3 weeks, y'all.
God.
You're not understanding. My mom died too. My mom died. So I left when my mom died. My mom died of cancer. I told my mom that she had cancer, how long she had to live, down to the minute that she was going to die. I'll send you guys everything when we get off of here. And you guys, I beat myself up so bad, y'all. When I say so bad, that like whenever this happened and God, like I was praying, I was walking with the food and I was like, God, you got to send somebody to me. I can't do this by myself. And God was like, I'm going to send somebody to you. Man, I swear to God, y'all, on my mom, on me, on my kids, y'all, I promise you. I was praying and I was like, God, I need help. I need you to help me. I can't, I know that I'm praying to you, y'all. I was like, God, I gotta get my daughter back. I know this was for a reason. As soon as I said amen, I heard somebody say, hey, excuse me. Y'all, when I'm talking about, I was like, whoa. Car pulled up to me. He was like, I'm sorry, I scared you. I was like, I am so sorry. This is the first agent that I feel came. He had military plates, military hat on. He was like, I see you're carrying food. Then I think that it looks like you got noodles and stuff that kids eat. How can you see through some bags? Okay. And he was like, I want to just give you a ride to where you're going. I was like, oh my God, will you do that without hacking me up into many pieces? You know, I was trying to be funny, but I was scared at the same time.
Sure.
He was older, so I trusted him. And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay. So I got in, y'all. And he was like, what's going on? I just need you to tell me everything. I was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, I have the urge to tell you, to just naturally vent to you, but I'm in a really bad space right now. And something told me, y'all, tell him what happened to your daughter. And I was like, I'm gonna be embarrassed. I can't tell this man. It was like, no, tell him. So I told him, and I was like, man, these people that kidnapped my daughter and woo woo woo. The engine blew on my motor. I'm walking everywhere. My other kids are with the sitter in the hotel room, and I'm like, this is the last of my food. And he was like, I'm here to help you. I'm gonna help you. You guys, this man just so happened to be a millionaire. Okay, he was a World War II veteran, which means he gets like 5-6. He gets the biggest check from the VA per month. Okay. And then he takes me to the hotel and he goes, if I could help you with something, what could I help you with? I was like, I don't want to ask you this because I just met you, but I need you to pay for my room. He goes, how much is the room? And I was like, $200 a day. You guys, this man paid for the hotel for a week the day I met him. Then he goes, I can't really do anything because I don't have an ID from this state. And I've been here over 6 months, but I lost everything. All my birth certificates, everything are in Texas in the storage, and I lost my storage. Like literally everything that I owned or any of my existence got lost in the storage.
Ugh.
Okay. I have no baby pictures. I have nothing of my life, nothing. So look, he was like, we're going to go to the ATM and he was like, you need more groceries than that. That's not going to feed you guys. You guys, I've known this man now an hour. He's paid for the hotel for a week. He went to the ATM and gave me $500 out of the ATM. He filled up the refrigerator and the pantry, the cabinets with food, and then said, we're going to sit out here in a parking lot. You're going to smoke because I know you smoke. I smell it. And we're going to smoke and we're going to talk about getting your daughter back. Excuse me?
Wow.
He was like, we're going to get her back.
Wow.
Y'all, this man worked. No, listen to this. This man worked 4 months, dropped me off his vehicle, went, got his other vehicle, gave me his car for 4 months, gave me $300 a week later to take clothes. When I found my daughter, I was working security and I got a phone call at 2 a.m. and it was little girls screaming on the phone. And these little kids were so smart. My daughter dropped her location. They broke into the, I'm sorry, you guys, I had them break into the office. I taught them how to break in and steal paperwork so that I could locate them and find out what schools they were in. And I was dropping off supplies, clothes, and food this entire time behind the back of the police and everybody. Okay. I never had a do not contact order from court, but they refused to let me see my daughter. The chief of police stole the dog. I also have proof of that because the DFCS worker that took my daughter texted me that the police had the dog. So that's how I know. The police then later admitted that they had the dog to me in person. The dog is a cadaver dog. They use them in the Russian prisons, in the maximum prisons in Russia. You can hit the dog. He can get hit by a full-grown bison male, and he can continue to perform until he literally dies because they don't have pain receptors, meaning that they can get injured and have an injury and still work. They were bred that way. So just think if they could do that to a dog, what could they do to us, right?
Yeah.
So again, like I said, I got my daughter and all this stuff happened. And as I kept getting the urge to call and call and call, something was telling me there was more victims. And like I said, the feds, the guys in the black suits, they had to have some involvement with the ring. And the reason why I say this is because I later found out, and I'm not going to say on here how, if I'm ever in person in front of you guys, I'll tell you how I found out about Bank of America being involved in the sales of children. But they were very upset that I was successful in getting my daughter back. You see, remember I told you I'm a paralegal, right? So I'm licensed, but I got an accidental scholarship. So literally my phone rang one day and somebody said, "Are you Quianna Carpenter?" Now, mind you, I usually do not answer calls that I don't know and of men that I don't know, but something said, "Talk to him." And I was like, "Yeah, it's me. What's up?" And they were like, "I have some good news for you. You won the scholarship." In my mind, all of the black kicked in and I was like, "Girl, you ain't filling out for no scholarship. So where'd you get the scholarship from?" And the man had my name, my social, date of birth, my current address. So this was legitimate, right? They knew me.
Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. We're normally not outside and the computer's about to die and we don't want to lose this because it needs to convert in Zoom too. So
we'll pause the recording for a second.
Okay.
Just grab your charger.
Yeah, hold on real quick.
Charger.
Yeah, hold on. We're going to pause recording for everybody.
All right.
Okay, guys, sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulties and we get talking as we're dialing things in and we know we're going to have a part 2. Frankly, we need to go through this to figure out where exactly we need to take this from and pick this up from. So, and we also realized we're a bit over an hour and but anyways, so real quick, let the people know where they can find your either Instagram or anything, and then we're gonna have a part 2 with you. So Quianna, please go ahead and we'll wrap this up with a bow and get ready for part 2. Go ahead.
Okay, so my Instagram is at spiritual readings 300. And then my private group, if you have any questions or have a cold case or an unsolved murder, is called Lucid Visions. It's a private group. It's invite only, and it has a lot of the moms of the victims and cases that I've solved and I'm working on. So if you have a case that you would like me to review, then you could go to that. And again, it's at Spiritual Readings 300. And then the other is Lucid Visions.
And those are both
That's
Instagram.
Lucid Visions is on Facebook. It's a Facebook group.
Okay, thank you. Okay, awesome. That's all
Thank
right.
you.
Well, this was a bit mind-blowing. I know he's ready for part 2.
I can't wait. This is so intriguing to me. It really is.
And
It's
I am
such a
too. I
pleasure.
just know this is really Scott's been into the more woo-woo stuff longer than I have. That's why I say
Well,
it.
it's something you just live it, you know. But it's such a pleasure to meet you, and I can't wait for part 2.
All right. And we
Thank
know
you so much.
you have some stuff you need to do as well. So Quianna, we'll put this up this week and we'll be in touch. And thank you so much for joining us on TruthStream.
Thank you so much, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take
Sounds
care.
good.
Bye.
Take care.